let me tell you something, a story I went through yesterday, which I think might have a bit of an analog characteristic to this. As I was doing my walkabout in Central Park, I noticed that it wasn't uploading right. It was scratchy and lousy, and nothing was working. I was like, what is going on here? So I went back and I called my carrier. I'm not going to mention their name. If they're not going to pay me, I'm not going to plug them, because that's the American way. So in any event, I decided, let me see what's going on here. I said, why is it that my thing here is not working? Okay, to make a long story short, it wasn't going to 5G. It was going to LTE. There's Petey. Good morning, Pete. So it was going to LTE, whatever the hell that is. I have 5G. I'm in New York City. There's 5G everywhere. Why wasn't my phone picking up on, there's Lizard. Come on, rise and shine, you knuckleheads. So anyway, why wasn't this working? Why was this not, what was happening? It turns out, you know, when they start you off, have you noticed that we have this, there's a new form of, I don't know if it's the, I don't know what the word is. If it's, we used to have the Indian, you know, God bless them, but the Indian, you know, the tech support. Now it's, I think it's Philippine. And it is this way of talking like this is very nice, and I'm so sorry. And I thought to myself, you know, I'm finding out that they're far better than a lot of Americans, because they're unctuous in terms of their you know, being nice. In any event, dear friends. And by the way, make sure you tell me, let me know if this, I'm checking my 5G here. This is partly me talking to you, but also seeing if they fix it. And I think they did. So let me know if this is coming in loud and clear. So in any event, thank you there, Ankit. So as I was talking, they said, your antenna is not working. Your ability to pick up the, no. Skyscrapers can block cell phone reception. No. By the way, do me a favor. Just so that we can get through this, never ever offer tech support. Never. It's just, believe me, it's been thought of. New York City is saturated. You can put in a 5G detector, that's the problem. Where it's saturated with it. There's no, it's not skyscrapers, oh no. But thank you very much. So, and it's true about Bugliosi. So to make a long story short, I thought this is interesting. I thought, this is like life's analogy. This is our antenna on, our antennae, as it were. Does that make sense to you? Our antennae. Are you able to pick things up? Are you able to pick up signals and facts and trends? That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Now, I realized yesterday, I guess by analogy, a lot of us have the wrong antennas or antennae, or antennae if you speak classical Latin. That disallows us the ability to find out what's going on. So right now, as we speak, look at this. We got Scotland's coming in. I love that so much. This is the most important part. What is the main issue? What does your antenna read today? Imagine if I'm sitting with President Trump and you and me, and I'm asking you, what is the big story today? What is it? Tell me. What does your antenna, what is redlining on your issue meter? What is it? Tell me. What's the critical thing? And I think one of the big issues is, believe it or not, oh, there's Lizzie from Scotland. Edward says UFOs. Okay. And by the way, your use of the apostrophe to pluralize, I think might be for the first time correct when you are abbreviating or when you're using initials. That's all I want to say. Congratulations. Nobody cares about England, Rye, sorry. I love that. I love it. Due process is more important. What do you mean by that? Due process in terms of the MS-13? Tariffs? Nah. One of the things that you have to understand is, imagine you were being a program director. Phil McCracken, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing like an old, some of the Mandy lifeboats, Hugh G. Rection, Hugh, Janus, all of these wonderful, I love, and never be afraid of it. Puerile or puerile, juvenescent humor always works. Now, this is the question. Is it tariffs really? No. Are you feeling the tariffs? No. No. If people don't feel it, nobody cares about it. What are you talking about tariffs? Theoretically, that's important. Nobody's talking about tariffs. Somebody cares about tariffs. Somebody's talking about it. It's sad when you see old people who've learned nothing in life. Don't be so hard on yourself, my friend. Don't be so hard on yourself. So here's the question. I'm not sure exactly. Immigration. Well, Groot, the problem is it's not immigration now. Because that's pretty much, again, if you're sitting around the table, the issue is, look what the left is doing. Everyone is talking about tariffs. You are delusional. Nobody's talking about tariffs. TV's talking about tariffs. Do you have any of your friends? Do you have any of your friends talking about tariffs? Anybody? 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 What have you noticed that's gone up regarding tariffs? What? Tell me. Now, when gas prices go up, you feel it. When gas is unavailable, you feel it. Or petrol. Tell me how tell me how. Tell me how. Tell me. Tell me how it's done. Tell me what you feel. Tell me the first thing you've noticed about it. No, nothing. They're saying this on television, but or whatever. You don't feel this. So here is the point. As you know, most of the time you will react to what they tell you is important. But it's not. Electrical goods. What about it? Do you feel it? Tell me how you feel. By the way, listen, don't get me wrong. I love this telegraphic stuff. I swear to you, I really enjoy it. And I love a good troll too, so let her rip, my friends. But the question is, speak in sentences if you could. The question is, you have absolutely nothing. You don't feel it. The issue is that the Democratic Party has absolutely nothing to say. Let me get this straight. This guy, Kilmar, what's his name? Kilmar Garcia, or whatever it is. Anyway, this is a guy from the MS-13. Everybody's worried about him because they're saying he's been denied due process, all right? That's what people are saying. Who watches TV anymore? Okay. What's interesting about that is that if he were to get his due process hearing, if we were to say, all right, fine, bring him in, the hearing would last a minute, 2 minutes. Better yet, have a hearing, and this has been suggested by everybody, have your hearing in El Salvador, wherever the hell he is, in, let's say, the embassy, have a judge fly there, or go there. You could do it by Zoom. Give him his hearing. Give him his hearing. He's got his due process. And there you go. MIDI doctors would be happy, don't you think? You don't have the hearing in the United States. We proved, as you know, during COVID, we had remote courts. We had Zooms, we had this. No problem. Give him his hearing. You have no right to have a hearing in the United States. And if it's in the embassy, that is United States territory. There you go. You have absolutely no, and this is important, no right to physically be on the ground in contiguous U.S. Anybody got a problem with that? No. That's the way it's been done forever. It's been done since the beginning of time immemorial. That's what embassies are for. That's it. End of discussion. But it drives people crazy. And what's also interesting is that this is MIDI, let's take MIDI doctors for a moment, who's, by the way, welcome and thank you. You don't know what you're talking about. Now, I appreciate your anger, maybe, I guess, but you don't understand what this is. You don't know, he hasn't been charged with a crime. This is an administrative hearing. Think about this like a driver's license. He's not an American citizen. What is he afforded? What is he accorded? Minimal due process. That's it. End of discussion. So what you do is, are you aware, do you have notice and fair hearing? Mr. Kilmar, do you know why you're being deported? Yes. Okay. Do you have any defenses? There is no defense, but would you like to be heard? Yes. Okay. Speak up. I didn't know what was going on. Okay. Anything else? Nope. Okay, fine. Deportation guaranteed, and that's it. We move on. Period. That's all we got to say, my friends. So as you know, a lot of people don't understand. Lots of trolls here today. Where is everybody? Gloria, let me explain something, my friend. You got to understand something. And this is important. I love a great troll, but they're not good. Give me something good, something clever, something that where you're saying, where you're not really sure. I understand it. But the bottom line is simply this: if we're going to have free speech, we have to have this as well. So anyway, they're still trying, for reasons I will never understand, they're still trying to pull out, they're still trying to revamp Guatemala, for reasons I shan't understand. And that's the most important part. That's the most important. Did you see the Canadian election? Yes. What happened? Oh, let's talk about AOC. Does anybody believe that AOC has any chance whatsoever of being president? Yes or no? Let's try our best. Let's just try. Let's just take a very quick, very, very simple thing. Does AOC have a chance of being president? Yes or no? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Go ahead. You're saying she has no chance. Joe Biden, well, he stole the election. AOC has no chance? Come on. You really mean that? Do you really mean that she... Now, why do you say this? Okay, now that we've said no, most of the people here, come on, what do the trolls say? Come on, the trollage. Why to let them out and water them? Give me one good reason. What would she be? Why would she be acceptable? Seriously. Come on, do ourselves a favor. Come on, especially, I want to hear a really good, absolutely a good one. Give me a great one. Anybody? Come on, let's go. Too far left, even for the left. Do you really think so? I don't know about that. Tell me why. No emotional control? That doesn't mean anything. No, you don't like her. Tell me why she wouldn't be acceptable to the left, not to you. The powers that be would not want her as president. Oh, I disagree. They want somebody malleable, foldable, usable. Look what they did to Joe Biden. No. I know we don't like her. Anybody? No. The second thing right now is we have to understand is that you have to separate what you like from what the rest of the world likes and vice versa. Let me give you an example. Especially the trolls too. Come on. Think about this. Because I like a good troll, and I know you got something to say, so here's your chance. What is the one thing, for example, that people like, and it doesn't necessarily be is not political, but I forgot to mention, my 5G is fixed. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. I am in 5G, which is great. Okay. Name something that you cannot understand why it's popular. I'll go first. Golf and fishing. Don't get it. But I know people like it and I respect it. I know people love golf. I know it. I don't get it. Okay? That's an example of a sport. AOC is our best option at the moment. We need a Trump for the Democrats. A cult of personality. Well, that's interesting. You know, that actually maybe. Cricket, Katy Perry, Facebook. I like this. Religion. These are actually good answers. That's exact. You see, what does a Democrat want? Now, I know you're going to say socialism, and that's not what they want. What does a Democrat actually want? What would make them happy? Think like the enemy for a moment. Answer my question. Think about it. What do they want? Do you think Democrats want open borders? I'm serious about this. What is it that makes somebody want to be a Democrat or a progressive? What is it? Power and money, power. They don't have a clue. Really, T. Taylor? Really? Are you really suggesting they have no power? Excuse me, no clue? I don't know. You see, we believe that our sense of politics is more refined, more lucid, more controllable, more rational, more lucid. I understand this. I dig that. I really do. I think my sense of what's important is superior to most people on the left, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Not even close. I am not a Republican. Never have been. I don't believe in parties. I don't know what that means. But we have no choice. Trump is doing a tremendous change in 100 days. He did more in 100 hours than most people do in 4 years. Okay, that notwithstanding. What motivates the Democratic Party? Give me an idea. You need to belong to a group. That's very good. The Democrats need to go back to where they are. RFK should take over the party and restore it. I'm hearing things from folks of mine in D.C. who are saying Bobby Kennedy is far more in charge, or I don't want to say in charge, far more, dare I say, clandestine than you would think. So far, it's red dye number 3, which means absolutely nothing to me. I don't know what that's all about. I have no clue as to what red dye, why this is important. Do you ever think Bobby Kennedy will address vaccines? Do you ever think somebody needs to address this one particular question? Let me put it to you quickly. If tomorrow, the government, CDC, NIH, or whoever, decides that there should be a vaccine against HPV, Gardasil, herpes, shingles, bird flu, anything, okay? Tomorrow. Question is, what do you believe your rights are in the event you decide that you don't want to have anything to do with it? What if you say, not because of any particular reason, not because I'm religious, not because I'm scientific, I don't want to take this. This is my body. This is my health. And I don't feel good about this. I don't eat meat, or I do eat meat, or there are certain drugs I stay away from. And you're forcing me to take something. I don't want to do it. Not for any other reason other than the fact that I refuse. Okay, what happens to us? What happens? That's the question. Now, the argument is this. Let's say we're before the Supreme Court and we're talking about, we need to, I think it's Jacobson's case. Jacobson against Massachusetts, 1905 case. The government comes up and says, this case, let's assume for the sake of arguendo, that this thing we're talking about is a disease that will kill you, that is absolutely 100% virulent and contagious. Let's assume, and let's say it's true. It's really contagious. Hepatitis is very contagious. Whatever. And the argument is made, this is not about your right to stay away from the vaccine. It's, unless you want to move to a world or a country where there's no commingling, we're telling you that you have to stay away from, that you either stay away from us, or, this is more important, or that I don't know what the story is. You see my argument? The argument is going to be, it's not about you, it's about us. Okay? Let's assume you are Typhoid Mary. Let's assume somebody is absolutely just contagious. And forget the fact that there's a vaccine. Let's assume that, for the sake of this argument, that we want to quarantine them because they won't stay home and they're... When do your rights, or whites, as I say, when do your rights outweigh my right as a human being to live and to coexist? Why? That's the thing. That's the thing. Now, here's the problem. Many of folks are getting very, very angry at this because that's nonsense. It's nonsense. Bullshit. Do you believe there exists? Yes or no? Because I have to lead the choir. Do you believe there ever could be a time when a situation, when a condition is so virulent, so contagious, and let's assume also further that there is a there is a vaccine. Let's assume there is, because vaccines theoretically work. Not all of them, because they haven't been tested or they're incorrect, but the idea, the notion of a vaccine works. Louis Pasteur was right. But, notwithstanding that, do you think it ever happens where we could say, I'm sorry, you have to take this? You understand this? Can't keep up with your free-form jazz of communicating, or way of communicating. Do you ever have difficult times talking to somebody? When you have regular conversations with people who do not adhere to a particular subject within the course of your conversation? Do you have friends? Do you talk on the phone? Do you talk to relatives? Do you demand that they stick to a particular structured list of subjects? No. So imagine that's what this is, because this is precisely what it is. This is the problem. This is what I'm asking you. Can you see it ever happening? Yes or no? And you're saying no. You're saying bullshit. I'm not going to take it. Really? What happens if there is a kid in your child's class, another student, who has some disease, who let's just make it simple, who has a virus or a cold or something, and is, because most of us are really the most contagious days before we actually have the outbreak. But do you think that a student should be forced to stay out of school? Of course. What if this child has lice? Do you think this person has a right to stay home? Yes. Do you think you can force this person to stay home? Yes. Of course you can. Do you think the parents would say, listen, this is my child's rights, lice rights, and you can't do this? You would say, that's ridiculous. Your kid's got a contagious, my kid's going to get lice because of your kid's hair. Your kid has to stay home. I'm not going to use Quell. I don't believe in the substance. I don't believe in the chemicals. I don't like putting pesticides on my kid's head. Fine, your kid has to stay home. No, you can't deny my child the right to school. My child's going to be there. Your child is going to give my kid lice. I don't care about your kid. My body, my rights. You can't do this. You can't force me. What would you say about that? Common sense should dictate. Okay, what about that? Think about this. Think about this. So what you don't want to do is, you don't want to admit that, yes, sometimes the government, the people, all of us, have the right to say, no, you're not going to come in. We have the right to keep you away, period. Let me ask you another question. Off subject, for those who have a hard time following my free form, let me ask you this. Let's assume we have someone who is severely, I think now we can say retarded for a particular reason. Oh my gosh. You digging this? All of a sudden, okay. Kind of lost, which many of you are. Let's assume there's somebody who is sexually active, and this sexually active person has a congenital genetic something or other. I don't know what it is. And this person keeps getting pregnant. And this person has the intelligence of a soap dish, and every time this person gets knocked up, the state has to pay for these kids. And we keep saying, would you please use some form of contraceptive? No. Would you please keep an eye on this person? No. It's her right. She's submental. What are you talking about? Okay. Does the government have the right ever to force sterilization? Think about this. Think about this. You have somebody who has the intelligence of a speed bump, who is sexually active, hornier than a three-peckered goat, very fertile, and is popping out kids, and each of these kids is worse than the other by virtue of inheriting this disease. Now, think about that. Does the government ever have the chance to say, we have to do something? We have to go to court, have a due process hearing for those due process folks. We have to have this person sterilized. Any problem with that? Any problem? They have kids specifically to get government money. Pete, in this particular case, in the hypothetical, this is the person who doesn't know where she is. Gail says, that's a tough one. Thank you. Thank you. If some subtard decides that this is a tough one, where do we... Now listen, let me start with this. The Fifth Amendment of the Constitution provides, the Fifth and 14th Amendment provide that you cannot deprive somebody of life, liberty, or property without due process. That's all it means, life, liberty, or property. You don't have to be a citizen, a person, for all of you MS-13 fans. My question is simply this. What do you think to do? I keep my DNA to myself. How many here have ever been a part of this? Changing the subject. How many people have ever been a part of this 1, 2, 3 and me, or whatever these buccal cell things where where you do your mouth and you send it. How many of you have done that? Anybody? Be honest. How many? How many? Not me. I would never do that. But how many? Seriously. Somebody here has done that. Somebody here has, oh, come on. Somebody here has done it. They've done it. They've done it because, hey, guess what, Gift from the wife. Hey, I found out that we're 10% Scandinavian. Great, great, great. It's terrific. All of that information goes what? To China, to some database? Against my will, my parents made me when I was 14. Made you what? Made you what? I don't. Think about this. Lice rights. Try saying this 5 times. Lice rights are lice rights. That's good. Lice rights are nice rights. No, it goes to the Israeli database. Ah, the Israeli Next topic. My God. Do you ever remember any time in your life, I don't want to say anti-Soviet, anti-Israeli. I don't think it's anti-Israeli per se or anti-Jewish. I don't think it's anti-Semitic by any stretch of the imagination. But do you remember any time in recent history where there was such a focused reference to everything being Israel? Have you ever? I've never seen anything like it. Never. Yesterday I subbed for Mark Levin on WABC, which is always an honor and a pleasure. And somebody called him, we were talking about Virginia Giuffre, which we've talked about many, many times. I hope you see my interview with Sean Atwood, who's very good. And to make a long story short, very, very good stuff. They said it was Mossad who killed her. Mossad. And I said, where did you get this from? Mossad. Where? Tell me where you heard this from. Well, no. Where did you hear Mossad? Why not CIA? Why not ISI in Pakistan or MI6, CIA, NSA? We have about 17 separate intel organizations in our country. Why did you say Mossad? Why? Why would Mossad want her dead? Why? Why Mossad? They didn't know. So why did you say Mossad? That's the way people do it. We love to connect a good storyline. You've heard of the dancing Israelis. I've said this a million times. On 9/11, 2001, there were, I think either in, I think it was in Jersey City or across from the, I don't know where the hell it was. It was across maybe from the, might have been Liberty Park or whatever. Anyway, there were 4 people identified as being Israeli citizens. And I think they even may have appeared on some kind of Israeli TV. I don't know. I don't speak Hebrew or Yiddish. I don't know. But the argument is that we had 4 people. 4 who were Israeli. So people said, therefore, Israel was responsible for all that happened on 9/11. Why? Because there were 4 Israelis dancing. Did you hear this? Did you hear this? People say there was an urban legend. I don't know. I know there was I believe there was a van or something pulled over in the GWB. But let's just assume, arguendo, let's assume it to be true. Let's assume 4 Israeli citizens were dancing. Now, I can also take you to some places around, Jersey City where there might have been some Muslims dancing as well. I don't think the Muslims and the Israelis normally are as simpatico as you think. How do you explain that one? How does this make sense to you? How does it make sense? How do you work this out? What does that mean? Correlation and cause. What does that mean? This has been going on forever. I've been talking about the dancing Israelis for going on, well, this is 24 years. People have said Larry Silverstein, he owned the properties, the World Trade Center, and I think maybe Building 7 too. He's Jewish. Therefore what? Well, it's an inside job. Why? Silverstein. I know, you said he's Jewish. Why? Well, because he's Jewish. You keep saying that. Do you think, what, Israelis did that? Maybe you do. Tell me why. And people will say, oh, I don't know. I just don't know. So I'm not necessarily poo-pooing the idea. Of course it's possible. Anything's possible. But you've got to do something better than to come up with this. Here's one for you. Changing the subject now for those at home. During the O.J. Simpson slow speed chase, I was on the air on WABC when it was happening. No, actually the next day or whatever it was. And people were saying, well, you know, I think maybe killed Nicole. Who? AC. Al Cowlings? Yeah. Why? I don't know. Wait a minute. Do you think Al Cowlings killed her? Well, no. Well, why'd you say it? I don't know. Could be. Could be. Somebody said Justin, his son killed his mother? Well, so we don't know critical thinking. We don't know critical thinking. And we've also gotten into this. I'm changing the subject now. Just want to let you know. We're in this thing now where if I hear Douglas Murray, Dave Smith, and, what's his name, the historian or whoever, talk about Winston Churchill, this is so boring. Why is this? You know who I'm talking about. What's his name? The fellow who, the historian. And Tucker Carlson said he was the most, what he said about we are stuck. I am so sick of hearing about Piers Morgan, about whether Douglas Murray's, I don't care. Move on. Do you see Catherine Fitz? Catherine Fitz should have been mandatory watching by everybody. Catherine Fitz she has been a treasure for years. God bless Tucker Carlson. You think anybody understood that? No. You sound like you need a bathroom break? Is that funny? Giacomo, is that? No, I'm serious. I want to work with the humor. Is that funny? Victor Davis Hansen, bores me. I can't. Something happened to him. He says things that they're very good. He cannot pronounce names. Oh my God. Latita James. I've never heard. I can't get past the first couple of sentences with him. Same thing with Jordan Peterson. Maybe it's a personal thing. I don't hear anything that makes me say, wow. Wow. There's two kinds of commentaries. The first is somebody who explains what's going on and you know what's going on. You know what's going on. He'll just explain, free R. Kelly. Let's stop for a second. Thomas, why do you want to free R. Kelly? Why? I'm changing the subject. I like this. Thomas, we got it. Why do you want to free Diddy? Okay, Thomas, come on. Let's work with it. Why do you now's your chance. Tell us why. Get out of the troll mask for a moment and tell us. Maybe you got a point. Say something. Why do you want to do it? Why? Oh, come on, Thomas. You see, this is where you lose. You have an opportunity for somebody to say, go ahead, please. I love trolling. I want people to talk. I swear to God, it's important. Okay. Let's move along. Doesn't matter. There used to be a really good time. Really good stuff. When we called in the old days, when we had regular talk radio, we had great, not trolls, but chronics. And I was a chronic. And it was always good. Because you never wanted to have people, you never wanted people to see obviously. It's not like throwing a smoke bomb in a church or something, you know what I mean? Or something that just disrupts it. There's no class or there's no panache. Anyway, moving along. I tried. Because I tried to interact. I really did. I wanted to say you're so nice to be here, and I appreciate that. Hey, let me interact. And I realized that was stupid. Now, Catherine Fitz. Tucker is on fire. Was it Keith Weldon or whatever? Phenomenal about 9/11. Did you hear this? What he is doing is absolutely without peer. And we need more of that. We need a spirit. Tucker, he's got my move. I think we are also at a stage now where we're kind of like at an impasse. Nobody's moving, nobody's budging. Take the Middle East, take Ukraine. Nothing new is happening. Nothing new is happening. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody can explain what's happening to this. I try every time to check to see if my new, how do I say this? The new, if there's anything new regarding Gaza and Palestinians and whatever. It's nothing. It's the same stuff. And let me also tell you something. I have a difficult predicament here. Part of the deal of being a, quote, commentator, as I am, whatever that is I've got to make sure I'm playing at least some of the hits. I'm not talking about a subject that is so arcane nobody's talking about it. I guarantee you right now, everybody here in this particular venue, nobody ever wakes up in the middle of the night and says, I can't believe what's going on in Gaza. Now, I'm not trying to belittle it, but it's not top of mind awareness in this country. It just isn't. Or, do you think that Putin's going to give back the 4 oblasts in Crimea? Nobody cares about that. Just like tariffs. Nobody understands what a tariff is. They have this idea that somehow China is feeling the heat or something. Well, we don't know anything about it. None. The number one subject that will always get Americans is anything involving sex or race. Preferably number one, race. Number one subject, if you can get somebody who shows a racial double standard. Let's say we have somebody, let's say, I'm not saying this happened, but hypothetically, Oprah uses the N-word and then chides and lambastes somebody for using the N-word as well. The double standard. Oh my God, the double standard. We love the double standard. We love it. Now, it's not because Americans are racist. I really don't believe so. It's there's certain people. Joy Reid, and now Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett is our new focal point. Jasmine Crockett drives us crazy. Absolutely nuts, because she has the, what's it called? AAVE, African American version of English or something like that. AAVE, something like that. They use the term ghetto, which I don't think is correct. Being a linguist, cunning as I am, I don't think they use the right one. In any event, dear friends, she is the, all right, so when you talk about her, if you want to see any video go viral, you know what that is? A bunch of black girls fighting and pulling their wigs off at a Chipotle or a McDonald's, beating each other senseless. Why do you think that is? Because people love that. Why? It endorses, it ratifies, it bolsters or defends a belief that many, many people have regarding certain factions of the United States in particular that are manned by subliterate savagery. Now, you can't see savagery involving race. People will think you're saying the whole race is savage. But there are some people who, and you've seen this before. And by the way, just look at any cop video. You see people who are just white, but women in particular, because women, I'm seeing this, are crazy. Sorry to break it to you. Spend all the time you want. Just spend a minimal amount of time perusing the what am I saying? Perusing the the YouTube stuff, and you'll see women giving cops the hardest time. Women who are becoming more and more drunk and more. I mean, it is just the most Incredible thing. Now, let me show you something. Enough of this. Let me show you something really good. Look at this. This is where all of the horses meet in the morning. Let's watch this for a little bit. And they're all meeting, the handsome carriages. They all have their top hats. See where the little horses come out of? This building must be around. This must be Civil War. Let me tell you a story about this. Where they put all these horses, I have no earthly idea. None. None. It is fascinating. They're all hitching up, going to the Central Park, and they're giving tourists their time. I mentioned this yesterday in passing. Liam Neeson made a very impassioned move. There was a fellow named, you might have heard of him, Bill de Blasio. Bill de Blasio was, oh, here you go. Here's some more horses. Check out straight ahead, look at that. Bill de Blasio, when he became mayor, all of a sudden wanted to stop handsome cabs, not handsome cabs, horses. He said because it's unfair and it's terrible and they weren't dying at all. I think one, I don't know, had a heart attack or something. In any event, so Liam Neeson said, I'm from Ireland, of course, and I have been around horses all my life, and these people are steady, they are draft horses, they are equipped physically, they care for these so much. Absolutely, they so much care and love for these people. Let me go back, change this. So he said, this is a nonsense story. The reason why Bill de Blasio, the mayor, wanted all of these buildings shut down, because somebody made a deal with him. They said, this is prime real estate on the west side. If you can somehow get rid of these buildings that house these horses, we could buy the property, put up high rises, and make a fortune. That's the only reason why he did it. Well, luckily they stopped it. I am animal rights to an extent. When I say that, I don't think they're human, but I am telling you that there is nothing inhumane about putting a horse or having a horse lead a carriage or what have you. They take great care of these things. They walk, they're not run hard. They just... So, to make a long story very short, the reason why Bill de Blasio, the former mayor of New York, was so against this wasn't because of the horses. It was because they wanted the real estate. And if you all of a sudden got rid of the horses, all of these stables would be a waste of time and nobody would ever frequent them. So it's always about money. Do you believe congestion poop tax? I do love the smell of horse shit in the morning. The Pentagon has just announced that its recruitment of transgenders has been so successful that its budgeting for lipstick bombs has now exceeded its budgeting for BLU, general purpose bombs. That is actually very, very funny. I think, from what I understand, I believe that the transgenders in the military, I think that ship has sailed. Do you mean arresting kids that are in MS-13? Lost your minds. Do you mean arresting kids that are in MS-13? I guess this, by the by, have you noticed how good these comments are today? I don't want to sit here and read them because it looks ridiculous when I'm just going to look staring and but these have been very, very good. Very, very good. How can you stand the smell of NYC? It smells like rotten fish. How do you smell of rotten fish all day? It does not at all. It's ridiculous. It's the most incredible smell off of the, I smell wind and sea and water off of the Hudson. That's why people who don't know anything about New York, listen. There's one thing about YouTube, there's one thing about social media. You cannot be allergic to bullshit. People say stuff all the time. They have no idea what they're talking about. How many times have you heard about people talk about communism and socialism and Marxism and they can't even define it? I've been going through that my whole life. Can you read Hillary versus Trump 2028? Now you do know that Hillary Clinton I think Hillary Clinton would be a formidable opponent. I don't know how old she'd be. The guy to watch, maybe not so much now, but was Gavin Newsom. They're going to rehabilitate Gavin Newsom. Please tell Charlie Kirk, who, by the way, I don't understand Charlie Kirk. I don't understand Turning Point. See where David Horowitz died. He was a lefty and a Marxist, and now he's not. I love people who change. Who else was? Oh, Thomas Sowell was a Marxist, and anybody who does a 180, there's something wrong with it. Hillary Holt, cut the bull. Hillary and Trump dance at galas together. That's not even good. Marxism, MSNBC, define Marxism versus socialism versus communism. Can't do it. To most people, Marxism means that it's a term people use to just explain. Tom Sowell was a Marxist when he was a kid. Oh yeah, did you read it? Absolutely. Willie Nelson, by the way, only 92. Willie Nelson, who looks really, he has a, I think, either some kind of oxygen or something. Listen, he's 92, bless his heart. I think Newsom is the guy to watch. I'm not really sure. What broke his brain when he got older? You know, some of these, and I mean this, and listen, you can say whatever you want, but if you spent just a little time, maybe use ChatGPT, maybe run the sentence by, and ask yourself, am I making any sense? Am I saying anything? Is this a comment or is this a reaction? It'd be so much better. Look, it's a free country, you can do whatever you want. Far be it from me, but some of these things are really, really just stupid. Now, before we go, I like to do this all the time. How about having somebody give us right now, the first one, let's do a roll call. Where's everyone from? Come on, even the trolls. Where's everybody from? Come on, Stephen Taylor, Pete, C.D. Jones. Where's everybody? Look at this, Philly, Texas, Northwest Arkansas. I love to hear cities versus states. Wyoming. Look at the variety of this. This is what makes it best. This is like looking at an EKG or something. Isn't this beautiful? Come on, even the trolls, where are you from? Come on, you've got to say too. Because in your own way, you make it exciting. You make it exciting because if it weren't for trolls, who would appreciate rational thought? Venezuela, beautiful people. Look at this, my friends. New Mexico, LBI. That doesn't ring a bell at first, but I'm sure it's an abbreviation for something that's so obvious. Look at this, Kent, Naperville. Ah, we love it. North Kakalaki, I love it. New Zealand, love those Kiwis. Thank you, Robin. Billings, Montana, Chicago. I wish for the great people of Chicago a governance. It's probably the worst it's ever been. It is profoundly horrible. Gardenville. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. I appreciate everything that you have done. Don't ever change, and I mean that sincerely. We will talk later again. You may hate this. I'm enjoying getting out, being able to speak, more extemporaneous. The weather is better. I'm getting kind of claustrophobic. Sometimes sitting in front of the screen is like, oh, whatever it is. Let me remind you that we have some wonderful sponsors. And the one I want to tell you about right now is very simply this, preparewithlionel.com. Any of you European friends that we know saw what happened, where all of a sudden there was this power disaster and everything came to a halt. And if that ever happens in this country, for whatever reason, because of an alien invasion or whatever, are you able to survive? Do you have enough food and generators and water purifiers? No, you don't. Go to preparewithlionel.com. All the information is there, okay? And Lizard, I love this format. I got to tell you something. It's so invigorating for me. I get done, I feel terrific. Sometimes in the other way, I mean, it's nice, but it's just, you have to mix things up. All right, friends, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. She's got some big stuff to tell you. Don't forget to follow our other channel, our Lionel Legal, and make sure you are subscribed here to Lionel Nation. In any event, dear folks, have a great and glorious day. Thank you so much for spending time with me. We'll be back. You never know when these things are going to pop up, so make sure you're subscribed And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da da.